Hello, welcome to Ecstatic Woman, How to Reconnect with Your Body in Sexuality Summit. Welcome everyone, and we have such a special, amazing, delightful guest today with us, Maya Zacharow, who is a coach, sustainability enthusiast, entrepreneur, mom, scientist in the past, and she is so passionate about supporting Mother Gaia, supporting women, and bringing that divine feminine collective energy into the world. So Maya, welcome. It's so nice to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Ola. It's such a great honor. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so by virtue of my introduction, I just want to give people an experience of what kind of medicine do you feel passionate about caring with the world, sharing with people? Can you tell us a little bit more about the work that you do, or maybe what brought you there, so we can connect and understand and feel you?
Right. So I'm a former professional wetland scientist, and I worked as an environmental licensing and permitting consultant for over 15 years. I have since left my corporate environmental career behind, and I help clients now to focus on fostering self-transformation through deeper connection to our planet. By making online summits, coaching through the medium of cowrie shell divinations, and I also do sister circles. I'm a native of Odessa, Ukraine, but now I split my time between Gainesville, Florida, and Abu Dhabi. And I love the ocean, our planet, and all things natural, women, and dance. And as far as my personal journey, like what have led me to where I am right now is um, I have worked, as I mentioned, for 15 years as licensing and permitting as an environmental consultant, and I've seen so many landscapes and ecosystems throughout the United States. And then, as a during that process, I became disillusioned with environmental consulting and environmental policies as a whole because a part of it, like as a child, I wanted to become an environmental scientist and help the earth and heal the earth. And then even during my career, I saw like widespread devastation and then or development of the earth, and then mitigation rarely, made up for the loss of the native habitat. And it wasn't because the clients or us consultants skipped any corners, but ultimately it's because the laws and regulations were written in US at least for allowable harm. But I'm talking about US, but because I'm familiar with that, but really all over the world, we're seeing such a swift disappearance of animal and plant species, and that obviously something greatly terrible is going on our planet. But what I finally understood as an environmental consultant also is that what we really need to foster is our personal connection with her, and her meaning Mother Earth, our planet, and to find our own way of relating to her and developing a relationship to her. So I think this is what is needed as a society. We all need to develop, preferably daily, practices of relating to our planet. And this is why I do what I do now.
Beautiful. This is very inspiring. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And when we talk about, I know when we speak about divine feminine, sacred feminine, about different temple activations, connecting to Mother Gaia is so important, because when we talk about that shamanic way of nurturing that feminine energy, Mother Gaia becomes our number one priority. And that's very different from the values that we are focusing on right now, with destroying her, taking from her, making it one way where we don't give back, we don't spend that much time with her, nourishing and loving her. So how can one start building those relationships with Mother Gaia, especially for us as women, when we come back into that empowerment and remembering our divinity? Like, how can a woman start building those relationships?
Well, it's basically it's very simple, because the essence of feminine is life. So the more we're connected to life and life forces, the closer we are to experiencing ecstasy, like just going back to the, the name of the summit. So in short, this is how it's done. And then the practices, specific practices, I mean, there could be so many. You just have to choose the one that's right for you specifically.
Yeah, I just made a post because I feel like being in Mexico, connecting to Mother Nature is such a big part of the culture. There are rituals, there are ceremonies, people go to the beach, people put their hands on land. So there is a lot of that connection that I can see, I can feel, and it's so beautiful. So I feel like, just putting your hands on earth, connecting to her, breathing with her, just sitting and anchoring and just imagining those roots going through the earth and connecting. It's so powerful. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'll ask you about practices a little bit later, but you mentioned, you mentioned ecstatic woman connecting to Mother Gaia, and that what just bringing that word ecstatic woman into a conversation. How do you understand ecstatic woman? What makes a woman ecstatic? What's different about ecstatic woman?
Right. Yeah, I interestingly, because I actually looked up ecstasy as a definition, just because I wanted to tune in more to this like vibration of ecstasy. And so there's three different definitions. One is intense joy or delight. Two is a state of emotion so intense that one is carried beyond rational thought and self-control. And the third one is the trance, frenzy, or rapture associated with the mystic or prophetic exaltation. So I just want to share an experience with our audience that I had, and that was while I was walking along the beach in Kauai, a retreat that you helped facilitated with Adahita June. So the question I was meditating on was, what is the biggest wish for my family members? And I had listed all my family members, in one column, and what I was going to wish for them on the other. So let me set the scene. I mean, the beach in Kauai, I was lucky enough to be on, is just gorgeous. It's wild. The marine life is vibrant. It has like sea cucumbers, anemones, sea urchins like hidden in the rock crevices. The wave action was like strong. The sky was endless. So this answer came to me in regards to my family members, like really surprised me, because of course I was going to write out one specific thing for each. And it was very simple. I wished for each of them to live in a state of unlimited freedom of wild self-expression. I still have the book. So to me, this is really what ecstasy is. To me, it is inseparable from nature and the natural forces within us. Our true honesty, our unpredictability, our authenticity, intimacy, our strength, our refusal to compromise. So everything that's pulsing with life and potency, like is the essence of ecstasy. And of course, in our culture, this state I believe is harder to achieve for women because in order to be accepted and sometimes just to survive in society, we had to accept certain conditioning from cultural, religious, genetic and family lineages. And just that I think all of us are familiar with. I'm not, unique. Everyone, hears like, oh, you're not safe unless you're with a man, or you're not a true woman unless you have children. I mean, that has played out in my family specifically. And so, I mean, we can dive into all of these separately, but really all of these things are forming a limiting belief, and that stalls us from accessing our creative force and our power, our ecstasy, really.
Can you say one more time when you read that phrase? So you said authentic, unstoppable self-expression, or how did you name it?
I'm just talking about life force, like
Mm-hmm.
how does it playing inside of you? It is you, it's your authenticity, your,
Yes.
uncompromising self, something that could
And
not be broken or,
mm-hmm.
taken away from you,
Mm-hmm.
really. Like when you,
Mm-hmm.
the deep,
Mm-hmm.
deep down you go, it's there. It's your Shakti, it's your life force, your,
Mm-hmm.
your prana, whatever.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
it's your connection to the divine, also within and without.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. So that authentic life force that moves and you are not stopping her, you're with her, you're celebrating her, and that creates that ecstasy and aliveness in the body. Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
And I feel like you are bringing a very important piece here around removing conditioning, because that's what's in the way of that life force expressing herself freely and fully and being in that moment by moment expression of that fullness and ecstasy and aliveness and radiance. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. So what do you think is the best way to get there? Somebody feels that aliveness, feels that life force, and still there's something either blocking or stopping, or maybe there's not enough permission. Like how would you say a woman can connect and activate that?
Sure. Yeah. This is, so I wanted to share like a case study that,
Mm-hmm.
basically, what I do is I coach through the medium of cowrie shell divination. I studied with an African elder, and this is the coaching and divination is based on the 5 elements according to the Dagara African tradition. So I have a client who has been, this is her session was, she's telling me that she has a crush on a man and she's contemplating what to say to him when she sees him in the next class they will have together, because sometimes it's not in constant class. Sometimes they have classes together and they connect, and then they have spoken prior, so they know each other. So she usually strikes up a conversation. She likes him very much. A lot of emotions are going on. So she's asking like how, um, basically what to do with that, relationship. And what struck me is she was talking about like us, and I'm talking about us like Western women. And of course, when I'm talking about Western women, I'm not talking about just geography, because the Western influence has spread, I don't want to say all over the globe, but in many, many places. So we have been taught as women to function in a masculine paradigm, in a masculine frame of mind. And me for sure being one of them. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just talking the talk. I lived it. So generally we have mastered this skill of the masculine in ourselves, like really mastered A+, because in society, like the values that are being valued, overvalued and rewarded. So, and this is what's being modeled to us and it's being taught to us growing up. Because really, like the feminine principle or the feminine aspect is this subtle energy. And in our society at large, it still remains untapped, I think, within the psyche of both women and men. So when she's telling me the story, I'm telling you, like, why are you dipping into the masculine while dealing with the male, especially like initiation? I'm telling you, like, let him initiate. Let him approach you. Let him, think what to say and how to engage you. Like, what a drain for feminine to initiate.
Mm-hmm.
And as women, we have to have this feminine building practice, especially as I mentioned in this Western society where the masculine values are just overly respected and
Mm-hmm.
recognized. So it's because sometimes, and I've been there, as I said, it gives you a false sense of being in control when you initiate, or maybe a false sense of safety. So as women, we need to focus on ourselves. Like we go within to create and grow this inner feminine. And when that force, that energy, that yin power is alive and awake, then I told her he will come up to you. He will initiate. You just receive. And by the way, you receive only when you want to. Like, meaning like, is he being respectful? Is he being polite? If so, maybe give him a little bit of your attention. Is he entertaining you in the conversation even further? Maybe even making you laugh? Great, keep talking. Otherwise, no, you don't have to give your attention and energy away. And like, we don't owe anything. We don't owe anything to anybody. You don't owe anything to him just because he strikes up a conversation. Because I mean, you don't even have a relationship with him. And even a relationship, it's a constant flow and exchange of energy. It's not just giving and receiving, it's really offering and accepting and reciprocity. And it's through fostering this inner feminine relationship with the feminine that these things become clear to us women. So like, how do we foster this inner relationship with the feminine? It's an inside job. It's an inner practice. And of course, there are many ways. Like, you got to know a little bit about yourself. Some suggest building a shrine to the goddess, and it's a great idea. But I know a lot of women who can make an amazing, beautiful, cozy spaces. But to be honest, that's not my skill. I can arrange flowers, crystals, statuettes, candles, perfumes to make a shrine to the feminine. That's fine. But when you're traveling, or when you're busy, sometimes your makeup counter could be a shrine to the feminine. And more, as years go by, like, I also didn't mention, like, I had training as like a professional training as a dancer. So that part never left me. But more and more now, I consider my body as a shrine that I can offer to the goddess and Mother Earth when I dance. So I have a dancing practice as a prayer, as an offering to the goddess. And I believe this is the way I worship. I actually think that we were misled by society of how to worship the goddess and the divine. The idea of wearing, certain specific clothes, or certain body parts that have to be covered up, and then reciting specific words and phrases by some higher unknown authority, it just doesn't appeal to me, because I've tried that. I've went through to a religious high school. All these different ways. To be honest, I think the divine is probably fed up. It's sick of hearing the same words. It's tired of seeing the same movements. The same prayer when you bow down or kneel or stand in specific words and phrases. And I think many religions, if not all, do this. And I mean, my intent, I don't want to downgrade any religions. If it speaks to your soul and it's truly you, do it. This is your link. This is your way. Thank God somebody, helped you get there. But I personally think that my divinity, or the divinity, starved for our authentic self-expression, our creativity, just life flowing through our feminine instrument, our bodies. So, like, let it flow through you as a woman. Dance, adorn yourself in whatever you think, whatever makes you feel beautiful. Clothes, jewelry, anoint yourself with oils, or nothing at all. Dance naked. Make it a private practice. It's between you and the goddess, between you and Mother Earth. There's no judges, no one. You can close your eyes, or you can, like, look in the mirror. It's completely, it doesn't have to be dance either. Like, you can make it a song. You can, make a poem. You can, it's whatever moves you. And as you said before, like in Mexico, how women, or how people put their hands on the earth, there's so many ways. I mean, you can come outside and really just, then if your intent is to connect, you can literally just, I'm reciting a Peruvian way. You lay down completely on the earth to where you have a heart connection. Completely, your heart is on the earth. You make this kind of like a triangle over your mouth to kind of like separate and speak. And you give it, you tell the earth your problems, or what's heavy on your heart. This is the way to connect. They call it giving your hocha, like your heavy energy, to the earth. Not because she will transform into something beautiful inevitably. She will make gorgeous flowers out of it. But it also opens up this, it's your mother. You're on the bosom of your mother, and you're speaking to your mother, and you're connecting with her. And when you're connecting with her and you constantly, give this, maybe heavy energy, and receive this refined, pure vibration from her, and grounding. And I mean, there's a whole science into like the chakras and, you know, connecting to her. So do that if nothing else. If you're too shy to dance right away, there's so much. There are
Mhm.
infinite ways.
Yeah, I love it. It's such a shift because when you started talking, you know, about the client's case, it almost felt like she's in her head, she's in the masculine thinking of like how to solve a problem, basically, like she was trying to come up with the solution, right? In her head, stuck in her head. And now we are talking about, you know, come back into your body, dance, you know, put oils on your body, connect to Mother Earth. So that's definitely bringing us back into that feminine flow. So why do you think body is so important for us as women in reclaiming, reconnecting with that feminine flow in essence?
Because this is our earth. I mean, in short, our body is our earth. It's our Mother Earth. There's this like a chant that I don't have it written down, but basically it says, "Earth, my body, you know, water, my blood, air, my breath, no, air, my spirits." What is it? Earth, my body, water, water, my blood, air, my spirit. But there's so basically there's the four elements that can. It's there. It is your tool, and we're all. You know, like we're talking right now, we're talking about theory. It's all theory. It's great. Maybe somebody's listening. They're inspired. Unless you go and do. We're given, enable this. We're given this body so we can do in the world. If you don't do, then it's not, you know, doesn't have the same effect.
Yeah, yeah, it's devotion, it's practice. When you were saying, you know, my body is the temple, and then connecting from that place, I feel like that's the biggest shift, right? When you were talking about not having time to have this shrine and altar for the goddess, but remembering that your body is a temple and honoring and moving and connecting. So powerful.
Right.
So how it almost feels like, yes, we are inseparable with nature, with this ecstatic state. But how can one, you know, you're a mom, you have these businesses, you have a husband, you're moving across the globe. Like in that lifestyle of a modern woman, you know, how can that kind of woman connect and reconnect with her ecstasy when there is lifing around her? What would be a good way, you think, for a woman to come back?
Well, as we said before, it's, you know, it's fostering a daily practice. It's a daily practice. And I, so it's, yeah, it's different. It shifts. Like, let's say when I was in Gainesville, Florida, I would go for a walk almost every daily, right? Especially when it's colder, you know, outside in the woods a park next to me. I'm connected to her. You know, there's different things. You can put on the music or not put any music on and isolate yourself and really dedicate your time and intention and breathing, you know, connecting with her. If something strikes me, I can even offer a shrine outside. You know, I can collect leaves and feel, well, this is my offering to as a thank you to nature. I see a piece of garbage, you better know, you better pick it up. You pick it up and as a thank you and put it, you know, put it out at the parking lot, throw it out or dispose of it properly if it's recyclable or not. This is your connection. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be like I don't have to lead 1,000 people behind me to, you know, to know that I made a difference. These are small connections like this, daily practices. Or like let's say I'm here, I'm in Abu Dhabi now. Well, things are different, the living situation is different. Today I danced, yesterday I danced, I found time when there's no one. All I need is one room, music that strikes me, that vibration that, you know, that connects within me to outside. And that's it, I dance. Doesn't have to be long, 20 minutes, an hour. The songs I found that really move me, that, you know, carry me through, and your creativity comes through. My creativity comes through. My thought process, the normal thought process stops. Really, you open a different channel. Or even if I'm thinking, it's not methodical thinking. It's that, oh, like I wish such and such for the women of Ukraine, because my friends are in a bad situation now. So I'm holding them, giving space to them through my dance movements. Whatever. I'm the creator. I'm the creatrix. I will make them a safe space with my hands, just the way it is,
Yeah.
and yes, it is my belief that through my thought form and my physical expression, that they will be safer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is a practice.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you recommend any specific type of dance? Any dance? Do you move a certain area in your body, or do you just go with the flow?
But this is what I God I just, speaking from a personal experience, I had such a deep connection a while back where I would just sit on the ground because I found I read a while back, this is a long time ago, but I read basically like the chakra systems, that the first chakra, the base chakra for women, it is not actually located in the anus as it was for men, but it is your cervix. And it was a big revelation for me because I was like, wow, so if you put your cervix on the earth, and something, the earth is the great big womb, and you create this channel. So I was focusing on creating that channel of connection, specifically. And it depends where you are in your life. I don't do that anymore, unless I feel the need, or sometimes, as I said before, you connect heart to heart, or just dance. You dance in your room. It will come to you. Like it's a creative expression. And then again, like, it doesn't have to be a dance. It could be a poetry. It's like the the title of the summit is Ecstatic Women: How to Connect with Your Body and Sexuality. The thing is, like, I was thinking about sexuality too, and like, your sexuality is you. It's not separate. It's not like how we're taught, like my sexuality comes out in the bedroom or whatever. It is the way you live your life. It's the things you do and the way you do them. The clothes you choose to wear, and the fruit you buy, and the vegetable garden that you grow, and how you paint, or how you listen to the music. It's the way you raise your children. And oh my God, even the way you raise your voice to your children, should that ever happen. It's the way you love yourself and love your partner. It's the way you connect to the world. Your sexuality is you. It's your creativity. It's intertwined. It's all intertwined. So when you find something that moves you, be it dance or poetry, you fine tune it. Or, as I said before, it depends where you are in a different stage of your life. Something strikes you, something is important, you do it this way. And then something shifts in your life and you move on to a different, plane, or a different way of expressing yourself. And that's all normal and beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. I really connect to your message. Yeah, just moving with life force, whatever feels like in some stages of our life, like you say, you needed that womb connection and anchor yourself and ground yourself. But now it's more natural, ecstatic, flowy. So it's so powerful. Yes. I'm curious because you are raising a daughter. I'm curious. Do you engage her in your dancing activities? Like, how can we raise young women that they are already tapped into that feminine flow?
Wow, it's a big question. And it's a question I ask myself as a mother all the time. And it's also my belief because I have an older son. It's almost like I wasn't ready. Although I wanted to have a girl right away, it's almost like I wasn't ready to have a girl yet. So I had to learn to step into my feminine more and more in order to, I don't know, to even like have this vibration that I'm able to bring forth of feminine life. So I think it's not a simple answer. There's a lot of things. I mean, she saw me dancing today, I don't force her. If she came in the room, I was dancing. And, if she's talking too much, I tell her, like, be quiet, this is mommy's time. If you want to dance, that's fine. But if you want to ride your bicycle and make noises or whatever, that scooter she's riding around here, I'm like, then, go entertain yourself. But it's more than that. I think also when time comes is introducing her slowly to the or a part of my life is to what I go. She knows I go for a walk, or we go, going to the desert, or going connecting with Mother Earth. I tell her, or she's telling me, if I don't remember what it was, but she's telling me like, oh yeah. I said, what, Victoria, what happened? She's like, oh, it's just the spirit. It's the spirit, Mom. I'm like, she doesn't, like, what spirit? Like, what's something's wrong with the spirit, did it? I'm like, what? When did that happen? Like, sunk in.
Wow,
So,
it's so beautiful. Wow.
yeah, but also I think when time comes, it's important. I will tell her about the menses as that also connection to the earth. I think that's also important. That's a link that's been kind of lost or left behind within our cultures, or specifically as something like even like shameful or whatever, your period, which it's quite the opposite.
Yeah. Beautiful. Awesome. So last question, do you have any last words for women who are watching, who are interested in becoming ecstatic, reconnecting with their body? Anything that feels aligned? Last words of encouragement and inspiration.
Right. I have to say that like all life is sacred, and we are held together by the web of life. We're all interconnected and interdependent. And I know that this concept, I studied it as part of behind ecosystem ecology and complex systems. And I think it was Dr. Autumn who wrote about it and kind of like explained it scientifically through like charts and stuff. But really, this concept, I mean, it's been known to indigenous cultures all through time, really. And like if there's, I wanted to share this one thing. I don't think we have time to read um, the whole story, but I will say like that there's the legend of the eagle dancer. And I got it from Arkan Lishwala's book, The Time of the Black Jaguar. It speaks about our times, how the times were prophesized, these times. And many indigenous people talk about these times, and these times are now. So I will leave you with one little excerpt from this story. But since I gave the book and the author, you can look it up yourself. But these are the point is that we are a creative force of nature. We are. Every one of us are. And the story of the eagle dancer says that at the end, the dancers who sang the creation of the world into being decided to leave a species on Earth that had qualities similar to those of themselves. They created women and men and left them with the mission to care for the rest of creation through the power of their hearts and their capacity to produce refined vibrations. So that's us. We have the capacity to produce refined vibrations in our hearts. And if we get into this heart coherence, into this loving and compassionate state, this is the state that if we're in the state, we get resonant frequency with the Earth's magnetic fields, and we can manage our emotions and align into heart's intuitive wisdom. And when two vibrations are at the same frequency, we can transfer information between each other. So when we are in this coherent state, our hearts and brains are vibrating in the same frequency as that of our planet. We can transfer energy and information between the fields of the Earth. So I'm not just saying all these things, this is the work of the HeartMath Institute. And these are not just theory. I will urge you to find your physical connection, your practice, how to get into this higher frequency, to connect with the earth of your body, and then our planet.
Yeah, I love it. It's so powerful, so beautiful. Yeah, well, thank you so much, Maya. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing this amazing wisdom of how to connect to Mother Earth, how to connect to your body temple, and remember about your ecstatic nature, about your life force energy. Thank you so much again. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ola. Thank you for